everybody. Dan Hardle, Mike Hardle, and today we have a special guest with us, Jill Suranie.
Perfect.
From Optum. So excited. I lose count of what episode we're on now with the podcast, but today
we're being consistent. That's the best thing.
So every week dropping a new one, but we're really excited to have Jill joining us. She came all the way out across the country from Georgia to be with us. Did a phenomenal training for a lot of our agents. Anyways, so we wanted to have you on, and we appreciate you being here. Before we really get going, Jill, can you spend a couple minutes and maybe just provide a little bit of context or background on, just a little of your history and more your role, unique role within Optum right now in these products?
Absolutely. So happy to be here. I come from Atlanta, Georgia, and we, from Optum, are partnered with Agent Boost, looking at the opportunity for our health plan. It is what is called the institutional equivalent health plan, and it is focused on a level of care. I know that we're going to kind of dive into that, but my history is I've been working for Optum for almost 5 years. I've had an opportunity to manage populations with D-SNP and C-SNP and also our institutional plans. And then before that, I had the opportunity to work in home health and hospice and skilled nursing centers. So always in the care continuum. So unique opportunity. I've had about 10 years of working with brokers and thoroughly enjoy everything they teach me each day. And then also just to enlighten them on how to connect the dots of healthcare. To me, healthcare needs to be easier for everyone. It's our mission at United is that we have the healthcare system working for our members, and we live by that every day.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I would actually say too, Jill, I think you're selling yourself short there because you're much more impressive than what you even described there in your background.
Being very humble.
You're a rock star in the industry, and you've worked with those populations.
I have two questions for Optum. Were you there pre-merger at Optum before UHC acquired Optum?
No, I've only been here for 5 years. So when you think about Optum...
Yeah, could you explain? A lot of brokers know what Optum is or they hear about it, but could you explain basically what Optum is and the relationship with United Healthcare?
That's really... most people don't understand. So I think connecting those dots are so important. So we're all part of United Health Group. United Health Group is, of course, our enterprise. And then they have two entities, and that is United Healthcare, which is our health plans, and then Optum, which is our clinical services arm. So Optum not only serves members that have the United Healthcare plans, but also we serve a lot of other members. We also have opportunities within our Optum Care clinics. A lot of people know us for, we have our benefits. So Optum is a well-diversed organization. We like to think of ourselves as very nimble. And I've only been there for 5 years and feel like every single day I learn something new about what we do and how we contribute to the lives that we serve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even to provide, I'm always being conscientious of, trying to fill in the gaps for our listener and our agents out there, to give a little bit more color to Optum owns certain facilities, clinics, providers, I think DaVita, just for an example. But
risk management.
Yeah, they do the risk management. They help with HEDIS. So a lot of the back end things, so to speak, back of the house, so to speak, to kind of more simplify it. Those are a lot of the things that Optum is.
I like to think of Optum as like the verb of healthcare. Like there's a lot of actions and behind the scenes care coordination, management, clinics. Optum is, like you said, very, very diverse.
Yes.
And, of course, United's a fairly large company, United, right?
Fortune 3 or 5 or whatever.
They just are kind of a big company. And Optum is a new, really cool, exciting part of the United Health Group, I feel like.
Yeah, even Change Health. And
Well, and you said something that we actually spoke about last night. So let's put Dan on the hot seat.
Oh, man.
Are you ready?
Love it.
All right, we'll see if I pass.
We'll see. So you mentioned HEDIS.
Okay.
I always ask, what is your favorite HEDIS measure? I always ask that question.
I think vision exam for diabetic. Did I get it?
That's excellent.
Okay. So that's just one. I think that when you're looking at those HEDIS measures, there's things that are very difficult to achieve and things that are very easy to achieve. And I think that that's one that, it's very easy to code or know that someone's diabetic even based off of meds. So, because sometimes, when people are accessing care, they don't get charted very well. And so they have all these conditions that get missed. And diabetes is an easy one based on even their med list. So hey, it's not just metformin, it's something like Lantus or whatever they're taking. So you go, aha, they're diabetic. This is a really easy measure for us to complete. Let's just get that eye exam done and get those bucks, so to speak, or get that score up. So that's one that I go, how would you not perform well in that particular measure?
Yeah.
Did I pass?
You gold star, 5-star.
Sweet.
We're a little bit digging in the weeds here with HEDIS. If you don't know anything like what the stars and the HEDIS measures are, that's one of the things that I actually am excited about this plan that you have. You are basically representing with the institutional care. It's an exciting, important part of Medicare Advantage and the model of care that I think a lot of people don't quite understand with Medicare Advantage plans and people who are critical of them. I think this plan is a perfect example of the exact type of care model that Advantage plans should be doing, and who better to deliver it than through a 5-star plan with Optum and United. So maybe you could kind of set the table for kind of how this plan came into about and maybe the market fit for it.
Yeah, the use case. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, I'll give a little history first. So the institutional equivalent plan, or IE-SNP, which used to be called the United Healthcare Assisted Living Plan, it's been around for a number of years. It's only been sold by Optum. Okay. And today we have partnered with you and looking at how we can expand the reach. And so what we've done is historically, we've only had this plan in assisted livings and in memory care units. And we wanted to expand that reach. Number one, it's a 5-star plan, but also it changes lives. And so in 2023, our leadership said, let's expand this opportunity. Mm-hmm. So we work in congregate living sites, so independent living, senior high-rises, HUD towers, and individual homes. So it really fit into a life cycle opportunity. This plan's not for everybody. Mm-hmm. You have to meet a level of care in every state. It's different.
Yep.
But in every state, we get to serve members in a designated county-by-county area where we can meet that model of care and then once again expand this reach. We do that through our clinical core components. And what we're doing is trying to, once again, connect people with access to care, but also to have better days. So historically, it's only been a plan in assisted livings and memory care units. But today, we serve people in their individual home. We still serve that population in that memory care or assisted living, but also in independent livings and senior high-rises across 29 markets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I've not disclosed this yet on any of our podcast episodes, but we talked about at dinner last night. Going back to the days of 2007 when I was a producer for United Healthcare, there was a product or a company, Evercare, that United Healthcare acquired years ago. And it was a plan built by nurses, very clinical. And I remember I was one of like 3 agents in the state that could sell they had an institutional plan, they had a chronic plan. I was certified, sold those. That was kind of... I got really passionate about that stuff early on and understanding, and I think I will still butcher it a little bit, that what HEDIS is like healthcare effectiveness data information set or something like that. Yeah, that's what it stands for. And they change it every year, the number of points that basically a carrier is, rated on, so to speak, the grading methodology. Last I checked, there was like 167 data points. I don't know how many it is this year. You could maybe tell me.
I do not know
it's
how
a
many
lot.
it is.
I think it's 168. I'll just chime in.
Come on, it's something. There's a lot. But I used to sell these products back in the day as an agent, so I'm passionate about this stuff. I think that was one of the reasons why, as an organization, we're somewhat of a good fit as far as distribution and some of our agents that we work with. And again, going back to this product and this population, it's not the right fit for everybody. And I think your approach of Optum having this for years, but not wanting to blow the doors off of it, because if you scale that and grow that too quickly, you can have issues with your star ratings, with the quality, with the experience, the level of care. There's a lot of issues. So I think that, Optum, as always, they're, industry leaders for a reason. They've done a very good job of slowly and methodically growing this. And so I think we want to kind of to set the table correctly or the context for all the listeners. I think Optum's been strategic about only finding a handful of partners to be able to distribute product. And brokers have asked us, well, why? And I think that's because if you went to 300,000 producers and get 1 million enrollments, it would be so hard to maintain that. Can you speak to that a little bit, Jill?
So I talked about the clinical care component, and part of that is that we have a care team that wraps around our members. So we have a care navigator, their telephonic support, they care coordinate all the members. I call them the quarterback of the plan. So they're really there to be able to pitch that ball to other members of the team. So once again, care navigator, quarterback. Then we have a registered nurse. The registered nurse, she, once again, is able to meet those needs of the members, once again, either telephonically or in the home. And then we also have our nurse practitioners. We call them APCs, Advanced Practice Clinicians. They're also in the home and community. It's looking at it from a triage perspective. And then lastly, we have our 24/7, 365 days a week, nurse practitioner call line. I wish I had that.
Yeah.
Think about on Christmas when you've had all of the cousins and brothers and everybody in, and you've caught the bug from some of the little children running around, and you're sick, and you don't want to go to the emergency department. You can actually pick up the phone, call this entity, and say, here's what's going on. What do I do? And it's a nurse practitioner on the other line guiding you through that. So those are the 4 core tenets. Why I bring that up is when I came to Utah, any state that I travel to, I always like to look, what's the unemployment rate of the registered nurses and the nurse practitioners that serve our members? I can tell you, in your state, they are at a high demand. They are at a negative 5% for RNs and over I think it's 108%, meaning that there's a shortage.
Yep. Correct.
So we look at that and we think, how can we grow this conservatively, but also meet the needs of our members? So if we open this up to everybody, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's not who we are at Optum. We like to make sure that our members are served and that we keep the word that we said, which is that you are surrounded by a care team.
Yep. Now, a couple things to add. So if you're listening and you're an agent, you're wondering about the product, a few things. It's available in 29 states.
Out of the 37 UHC states, correct? Is that
correct?
Yeah, so it's available in 29 states, and there's a full grid, we'll have up on our website that we can get you more information. So it's not isolated to just one area. It's in most of the footprint. There is one extra certification. So if an agent's out there listening, when you go into your Jarvis and you have a module to complete, we assign an additional module or course in order to be certified to sell this product. And if you're an Agent Boost agent, you do have access to that product in your portfolio. So there is just that extra little kind of hoop to jump through in order to be certified to sell this product, but well worth it. And again, let's talk more about the people that might be the right fit for this kind of product. I think the biggest misunderstanding, and I will tell you, there's a lot of information floating around on forums and threads, and people don't understand the product, so therefore they make assumptions, and then there's a lot of misinformation. The first thing is they hear an IE-SNP institutional, and they think you have to live in a facility for it, which is the first thing that's not true.
Correct.
And more people qualify for it than maybe people would think initially. So let's talk about who is that right person that's going to qualify for it.
I'm going to paint a picture. So today we have members that are on Med A and Med B because they're completely disabled. I have one that's an MS patient, and she's young, younger than I am. She's on this plan. I have a 104-year-old that is on this plan. I have somebody that lives in a HUD tower that is on this plan. And we have someone we serve that is a $1 million mansion that is on this plan. So what do all these people have in common? These people all meet in their state a level of care. So let's take the state that we're living in. In the state that we're living in, they have to meet a criteria for an ADL, that's an activities of daily living. They also have to meet one of the following, and that is that they have a cognitive challenge or they have a medical condition that needs some additional structure. So there's multiple ways for them to qualify for the plan. For example, if we pick New Jersey, they have to just meet 2 ADLs. In Georgia, they have to meet 1 ADL.
In Florida?
1 ADL and then medication management.
Yep.
Okay.
In in Oregon, if they live in an ALF, that's it. That qualifies them. Of course, here in the United States, every state cannot be the same.
State rights.
There we go. That's exactly what we do.
That's a podcast for another day.
There we go. Okay. Exactly. But I think that when we really break down this health plan, it is a health plan that is not for somebody who's just aged into Medicare. It's not this plan. It is not for someone who I have neighbors and they are 68 years old. They go to Europe 4 times a year and they go on cruises 5 times a year. They are not for this plan. This is for somebody who meets that level of care. I'm going to give you an example. My dad. My dad had a stroke 6 years ago. He still has deficits. This plan is tailor-made for him. For example, he struggles to put on his socks. It's from his stroke.
Yep.
He's a diabetic. So once again, he has medication management. My mother is a retired nurse. She fills that role. But every day he has glucose monitoring. He also, as he likes to call it, has the shuffle feet. And so when he gets up from a chair, from a sitting position, he walks very slowly, very tentative steps. He has neuropathy in his feet.
Yep.
And he walks very closely, as he says, until he warms up. And then he's fine. Yep. But he's unsteady. My mother-in-law, she was on a med-sup plan. She came onto this plan because she was 82 and she had a cognitive deficit. So she was a perfect member for this plan.
Yeah, and I'm going to jump in there. Neuropathy, super common, associated with diabetes, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, you're describing a very big population of our
a very large
clients.
population.
Yeah,
but I will also tell you, so there's a mindset out there with agents who are selling products to Medicare beneficiaries. And one of the mindsets is, I'm talking to this prospect and they have complex health conditions or they have a lot of health conditions. Therefore, I'm going to recommend and put them on a Medicare supplement. That's what a lot of agents do. So I want you, if you're listening to this, to be thinking about, rather than that, it's, hey, if I have this prospect and they have these complex medical needs, rather than saying a supplement. I used to do this all the time with Evercare. I would talk to people on a sup, paying for separate PDP. Their annualized cost on just their premiums was $3,000 or more. I would say, hey, here's this Evercare plan that is absolutely tailored for your situation. And the MOOP was $2,100 or, and essentially the max out of pocket that they could reach to was already lower than what they were paying in set fixed premiums. And it was not only the fact that they were saving money, it was the fact that the model of care that came along with it, that if you have those people like Jill was just describing, or we've been talking about, people that are diabetic, they have all these complex needs, they have these ADL issues, rather than saying, oh, it looks like you need more care, here's a supplement, here is this product with this clinical team and this management that is tailor-made for you, is the way. That's probably the thing that I want agents to start thinking about with this product, rather than just navigating directly to a supplement.
So you bring up a really good point, and that is the benefits. So when we look at our benefit design, we look a lot like a D-SNP, except we don't have the food card. I always tell everybody.
Yeah, no food card.
No food code.
And don't
Zero
plan
food
on
card.
it.
Yeah,
and do not plan on it. So a lot of benefits like our D-SNP. Our formulary for prescriptions is a C-SNP. So very robust. And our max out-of-pocket, depending upon your state, is very advantageous.
Sometimes like $1,400 or
less than that.
Here in Utah, it's going to $1,300.
You are correct.
So Jill, I don't write much business anymore, but I actually tested this, and I had a client that called me, a spouse aging and younger, getting Medicare through disability, and just qualified for this, and she was very, very excited about it. And she was very excited mostly to get that level of care, right, and that model of care, because I think that for Advantage plans, a lot of agents these days, there's always this war of supplements versus Advantage plans and which one's actually better care. And there's a lot of agents that think that people are going to get better care on a supplement. And to Dan's point, no, if you get them on the right actual plan, the Medicare Advantage plan, with an actual coordinated care plan or a model of care, specifically when Optum's usually involved and there's a lot of care management, a lot of times people get much superior care and care coordination than they do, even with a supplement where they're kind of, maybe their network is a little bit more open-ended, but they're not having somebody, like you said, quarterback their health care. And so she was very, very excited. And I actually went through the process myself just so I could, get behind the product.
We always like to test it before we kind of endorse it and
keep my hands in the dirt, so to say, and going through the whole process was easier than I thought. And the WellSky welcome call and all that was great.
And that's the vendor you're using for the level of care assessment, correct?
Absolutely. So every member has to have a validation of level of care. It has to be done by a third party. So we have a vendor called WellSky. They do a wonderful job. They are out there. They reach out to the designated contact. They'll call them. They'll ask those questions. I will tell you that the calls, I have been told, last for 3 to 5 minutes. But I can tell you there was a call that was for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. It was a wife in Florida who listed out everything that she does for her husband. So for WellSky, I'm sure they provided a little bit of psychological support.
Therapy,
for this wife who really had taken on a lot of care for her husband, and was relieved to get this health plan for that support. For her, it was about her trying to juggle all of those doctor's appointments, all of those pieces of coordinating care, and to have a partner in our care navigator to do that was just a relief off of her shoulders. Our care navigators change lives, and I'll give you an example of that. We had a member who we'd had for a number of years, and care navigator, they call them, they get to know them, they have relationships with their members. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so she called this member who had high blood pressure.
Yep.
And she's like, "How you doing today? How's your blood pressure? Everything's great." They're talking. Care navigator notices her voice is different. Mm-hmm. She goes, "Are you feeling okay? Did you take your medication?" "Yeah, I took my medication." "What was your blood pressure today?" She told her. Okay. So that was in the morning. She called her in the afternoon because she was still on her mind. Mm-hmm. And when something's nagging you, you should act upon it. She called her again. Her voice was worse. Mm. She said, "Do me a favor. Go take your BP for me. I want to know what your BP is."
Yep.
In alignment. Everything was fine. She wasn't comfortable. And so she called her care team, her care partners, and she said, "Who's in the area? Who can go see her?" They said, "I had a cancellation in the morning." Great. So they went and saw her in the morning, knocked on the door bright and early in the morning at 9 a.m.
Yep.
And she's like, came to the door. Her speech is worse.
Did you have a stroke?
We were worried about a stroke.
All right.
You were right on. Really worried about the stroke. So clinical team member says, "Okay, what's going on?" She goes, "Oh, my mouth is killing me." Mm-hmm. took the pen light, shined it in her mouth, and her entire right side of her mouth was inflamed. Picked up the phone, called the care navigator, said, do you have who her dentist is? Yep, got it right here. Call the dentist. Get her an emergency appointment. She had an abscess.
Oh, wow.
She had the tooth extracted. But what would have happened had the care navigator not taken the time and listened to her instincts to say, something's not right? And then once again, that clinical team member knocking on that door going, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know what would have happened.
Right.
And guess what? We didn't have to find out because she had the Optum care team.
And that's kind of how healthcare should work, right?
It
like
is.
That's kind of how these plans should work. And I think a lot of times there's, you know, so many people that have needs in healthcare. And that's why it's great. We all got into this business because we want to be able to obviously be compensated, but we want to be able to help people connect with the right healthcare plan. And it does feel extremely rewarding. And so one of the things that's cool for me is our agents are very, very, Dan and I have been talking about this, about how excited our agents are to be able to have a tool like this in their tool belt to be able to service their clients and get them this level of care, because it is, like you're saying, one of those unique plans where we really feel like we're going to be able to deliver a level of care and a model of care for our clients. We're all talking about, you know, can we get our father-in-law on this, our father, you know, our parents, and that speaks volumes to, you know, the type of care and delivery mechanism that Optum and United have on this plan is, you know, when you have the agent community really getting behind it. I'm
going to add one thing too. So when agents are asking like, well, why would I recommend this particular plan versus another? That's one of them too, is that when you have that right fit and that prospect who is going to do very well on this plan, you set them there, you have a whole team supporting that person. So it's just, you have that clinical side where it's not just your client calling you as the agent all the time. They have a whole team helping that person. So, I mean, the retention rate of this plan is incredibly high. I mean, the only reason that people drop off is usually there's like one particular state with a few little D-SNP benefits. And
Absolutely.
then other than that, people pass away usually, unfortunately. But that's about the only reason that people will move off of this plan typically, because it's just such a great plan with such great care that they're getting.
Agreed.
I have some FAQ quick questions that I know agents are going to be asking. So,
Are we in the rapid fire section?
Are we in the LOC,
Are we ready?
the level of care thing?
No. These are just like,
Is it-
so
I
once
like
the
the rapid
once you've
fire.
done, once you've basically done the Well Sky, do you have to do that every year to qualify, or will
Once
it roll over, or only once?
It's one and done. And
One and
that's a
done?
great question. So you go through the Well Sky appointment, client, so people can answer the questions themselves. They can have a family member, they can have a friend, they can have a neighbor. Anyone, we had someone recently that was a home health aide that answered those questions for that member because they didn't want to answer the questions. They said, can you do that? And
Yeah.
they were able to do that. Once again, they go through that conversation. They paint the picture of what they need, of what is their challenges. And then that's it. It's a one and done.
Perfect. So also, if anybody has LIS or qualifies for LIS, there's no premium. This plan generally has a premium.
Correct.
And for 2023 in Utah, or 2024, for example, we can talk about benefits. It is going to be $44. Now, if someone's LIS and that LIS, the
Any
premium
level.
allocate any level,
Any
the premium
level.
allocation, it goes to zero, even if that would not typically cover
It works like a
$44.
benchmark. Yeah,
It's
like
just
a benchmark plan. Yep.
perfect. So it's just a benchmark plan on that. So any LIS in any state, zero premium.
Any LIS in any state, that premium goes to zero.
Perfect.
So just so for my little piece to just drop in there, when carriers are filing plans, sometimes the premium is filed under medical or under drug, and there's been those situations before where agents are like, how come on this plan this premium amount is lower than the benchmark, but it still says they have to pay $5 or $6? That's because they split the bid on the premium to drug and medical. So it's important to note it's all zero on this particular one. Yeah.
And then what's been really rewarding is I have agents that are calling me across the U.S. because benefits have just been just dropped.
Yep.
How exciting. And they have had some members that have been put on this plan. And I had one agent in New Jersey that called me, and she's like, this can't be right. United made a mistake. And I said, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, the maximum out of pocket in New Jersey is $1,600. I said, today for 2023, that is correct. And she's like, but my client got a notice that the maximum out of pocket for New Jersey in 2024 has been dropped. And I'm like, and she is correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, but I didn't know this. And I'm like, surprise.
Yeah.
So, it is definitely an opportunity. We listen to our members. We listen to the agents.
A low MOOP is definitely always very attractive, especially for people who have, healthcare needs and they're going to be accessing care fairly frequently. That's very, very important. So to the age, I have a couple questions with agents because we're hearing a little bit of contention or agents who are not able to represent this plan.
Yes.
Do you see that this is going to be widespread where basically it's going to be opened up to the agent community, or is it going to be fairly tempered and a slow rollout over the next year or two? Because we hear from agents or other large uplines where, we're going to get that too, or our agents are going to be access that too in January.
There have been, it was funny, I received the wonders of healthcare, wonders of healthcare, but more importantly, the wonders of social media.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I was shared a snapshot where someone in West Virginia put out there, this plan is going to be open up to the universe. I don't know why
Correct.
Everybody is what I think they even said hellabub, and I just, and somebody sent it to me and I'm like, well, first of all, as much as I would love to have this plan in West Virginia, it's not in West Virginia.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, West Virginia, you don't have this plan right now. And it's not going to be there for 2024. So, put that in a box. But we talked about our clinical teams, and we talked about how we need to make sure that our clinical teams can see those members. I do not see this plan going out to the 100,000 agents that today sell the United product. Mm-hmm. We can't. We simply cannot. It has been, once again, a health plan that has been hyper-focused on making sure that we are able to deliver that model of care. Mm-hmm. And if we opened it up to the universe, we could not do that. We will go very slowly. It may not be, we have clinical capacity. And once that clinical capacity has been met, we then have to hire more people. They have to onboard, and that takes an enormous amount of time. Mm-hmm. And so as we had conversations yesterday, and I asked, how many members do you feel like we can serve in the state of Utah?
I sandbagged.
And you, but
we were joking about that a little bit. But
yeah.
The fact of the matter is, I'm comfortable having our team today, and this team tomorrow, and this team in a year from now, serving the population. Because if I said, okay, everyone else can come in and join, I wouldn't be able to take care of them.
Yep.
And we're going to go methodically, slow.
Well, and Dan and I have talked with having worked with United Healthcare for 15 plus years now. That is one of the things that makes United and Optum is they're not going to ever put themselves or overextend or put themselves in a situation where they have so much growth or they act as their own worst enemy, right? With their expansion, they're certainly not the ones that are going to do that, because we see that so many times in the marketplace and in healthcare where plans go too fast or they add too many members or they filed their bids wrong and they got too many people joining the plan and their MLRs go crazy, and then there's all sorts of turmoil, or they mess up their bid or their stars and their HEDIS measures, and then the funding gets cut and then they're put in a precarious situation. And so we very much appreciate that aspect of it with Optum and United being slow and consistent and being able to maintain that quality of care, because if you don't, then it goes away, right?
It does. And it's the integrity of the health plan. We would rather do this the right way and be slow. and we want to grow. I always want to talk.
Yeah.
We always want to grow, but do it in a fashion that has a deep respect for the members we serve. At the end of the day, we are only as good as our CAHPS and HOS scores. Mm-hmm. We're only as good as the retention of our members. We're only as good as that post on social media that says, I love United Healthcare, or I hate United Healthcare. I will tell you, I was on a plane a couple of weeks ago, and you're standing in the jetway, and people, we all talk. So what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And there was this woman, and she's like, what do you do? And I said, I work for Optum. It's part of United Health Group. She grabbed my arm, and she's like, I love United Healthcare, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
It became literally 9 people in the jetway talking about why they loved United Healthcare.
That's great.
And it was a proud moment because I get to represent what we do and who we are. And I'm proud of the culture, and I'm proud of what we do because we affect people's lives.
Yeah, you're not covering your logo,
No,
when you're
I'm proud.
And with the your potential customers and clients, you're out there going, I don't want anyone to know I work for this company or whatnot.
No, I'm loud and proud with who we are. And I think that we can do that because of the culture, but also because of the core principles of who we are. It's about relationships, our relationship that we're continuing to build. It's about the performance. It's about deeply listening, and making sure that we impact lives.
So, Dan, do you have any other burning questions that agents are going to ask us? I have a.
Yeah, I think I want to talk really quick from the agent experience of doing this, because really the people listening are going to be typically agents or producers. We have some carriers that are kind of listening in too, I'm sure. But let's walk through that level of care assessment and like how easy that is. It is sometimes if somebody's been on a United product previously, their level of care is already documented within Jarvis, correct?
That is correct. If they have, so for example, if they have gone and would have to have Medicaid or some level of LIS, you can look it up right in Jarvis, and you go to the Medicaid eligibility tool. And so they can go there. They can see, once again, fill that information out, and they can look and see if that person would meet that LOC requirement met.
Yep.
And then straight to enrollment.
So for those agents out there listening, if you are talking to a prospect that's already on a United Healthcare product or has been, then a lot of times you can just look them up in Jarvis, and you don't even need to do the level of care assessment because it's already
correct
attached to that life, and you go there, you already qualify for
correct.
this particular plan, which is great.
To that point, Jill, are there a lot of, because agents, if you're a field agent, you always are concerned with somebody calling into the carrier and then a sales rep changing their plan. Are the United phone reps, are they able to represent this plan? Are they able to do this like, telesales? Are they able to enroll people on this?
Very small group of them, yes. So
they're specifically trained for it, correct?
Correct. So the universe of telesales, absolutely not. A very small segment. And typically, that's a really great question. Typically, those agents that can on the telesales, they're calling in from a mailer we've done.
Okay.
So typically, that mailer may be to an ALF. It could be to a memory care, and it's going to that family member, and they're calling into that telesales group. Yep.
Perfect.
But I think agent of record, things stay in place, all
goodness,
those
yes.
things. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so if you're listening and you're like, oh my gosh, United Healthcare is taking my clients, no, they keep the broker protection and AOR in place.
Yeah, so I had this checklist of ADLs and IADLs that'll help our brokers qualify their clients. And I would say, maybe we can talk through, for one, what an ADL is for those who may not know, and what an IADL is. And then kind of, there's check marks here, need some help, full help. We could spend a whole hour talking about just that. But maybe if we could get a 3-minute overview of what an ADL and an IADL is and how those pair into the level of care.
So first and foremost, this is on the Agent Boost website. So I tell everybody, please go to the website, go and look what the ADL are. An ADL is activities of daily living. So when we think about activities of daily living, it's about walking and getting around. So let me give you an example. So if somebody uses a cane, a walker, a wheelie, a wheelchair, that would be, once again, one of those qualifiers for them to be on this plan. I talked about my dad and that shuffle feet. He struggles to get around. That would, once again, help them qualify. And it's painting that picture. The second piece my favorite ADL is dressing. Dressing is by far my favorite ADL. And that is because it's about, do you struggle to get dressed? Now, think about people who have arthritis in their hands. And let's say that it's a 68-year-old man. He has arthritis. Can he do his belt any longer?
Well,
The
if you've,
dexterity with those hands.
if you've even gained 20 pounds of weight and you try to put on your socks, it's a little challenging.
It is challenging. But here's a question. So there's the socks, but can they tie the shoes?
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of hard.
It is.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Crocs, flip-flops, Skechers.
Skechers. Yeah. Skechers is like $1 billion company. There's a reason for that. Think about women.
Crocs used to be there too, right? But now Crocs are cool. Like all
for
the young
kids,
kids want
they're
Crocs
hip.
too. You're hip if you have
Exactly.
Crocs. They're not just
all
for
the kids, the football team, they all slip
Yeah.
on the Crocs. You know what
Crocs
I
are
mean?
cool.
Crocs. Well, and everybody has the colored, the orange and the green and all of that.
Hype beast.
But, but those type of shoes became popular for just so they're easy to put on and off, as particularly for seniors or people who struggle with their physical needs there.
Sorry, I derailed you, Jill. Continue with the ADLs.
So now, not that either one of you men have to deal with this, but for women, putting on a bra, it's hard on a regular occurrence. But think about, you have neuropathy or you have arthritis. How are you able to hook your own bra? It's hard. It's hard enough being a woman. But then to add those challenges as we grow older, and so having to change what you wear, you struggle to put on your clothes. And then another great one is, I always love to talk about this, incontinence. It's a great topic. Nobody likes to talk about it. It's my favorite HEDIS measure, by the way, bladder control. So when you think about incontinence, it's the question of, do you wear a Depends? Do you wear a Depends brief or even just the pads? And once again, that's a qualifier. And then also, I think about people that have fallen in the shower. Do they have that shower bench? People that have a swallowing mechanism challenge, and those are people that dab their mouth with that handkerchief. Those are some of the high-level ADLs that every day in every walk of life, we see those people. Think about when you go to the grocery store, we call them a buggy in the South, and the people that are on the cart and they go around the corners really quick. I bet you every one of them would probably meet the needs for this plan.
Yeah. So if I'm an agent sitting in Publix, I'm like, hey, let's talk.
Do you have Publix
You're like,
here?
I see you. I see you.
I'm in the South.
I know that. I was like, wait a
I
minute.
see you dabbing the side of your mouth.
Harris
What do you-
Teeter. Or,
It's not compliant, but
there you go.
yeah. What are you doing
when
for
you're
your
working,
Medicare?
When you're working your retail booth, you're like, hey, I got a plan for you.
Well, we have a highly successful agent that has sold over 60 of these. She is in a Walmart, and she makes eye contact with people, and people come over and they engage with her. And she has said she can look at somebody and she knows when they meet that level of care. It's the walk, it's the gait, it's if they have an assisted device. And once again, it's also the hearing challenges. And once again, this is a life cycle plan. This is not for somebody that, as I said, they're 60, 65 and, playing bingo and mahjong and
Pickleball.
pickleball pickleball.
Yeah.
Pickleball's big here.
I saw a pickleball store. Yes. So if they're playing pickleball,
Probably not.
this plan is not for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. So we've talked about a lot about the prospect and who qualifies. So going back to the agent that's maybe
Yes.
potentially writing this. So this product is available in lean. Agents can write it in lean. It's also in Sunfire, so it can be written.
So Sunfire is not until 10/14
Oh yeah, it's in
Saturday.
That's right. Okay.
We're on the countdown.
I jumped the gun a little bit. All right. So You're right, because it was going to launch, and we delayed it like a week
I
or 10
know.
days.
It's just driving. It's 14 days they delayed it.
That's right. So it was going to be 10/1. It is going to be available here in about 2 days on Sunfire.
Well, and I'm counting down the hours, so it's not quite 48 hours.
That's the beautiful part is I'm trying to explain to the agents that you write this piece of business just like you do any of the other products, either through Lean or through Sunfire. It shows up on your commission statement, just in your Jarvis. So there's not like, with some carriers and other products, when they have a boutique or a unique product, there's this whole separate world that manages all that. And the beautiful part about this product is it's all in that United Healthcare ecosystem of where you write it, where you get paid, it does not feel any different for the agent, which is
now,
great.
I'm gonna throw a caveat out there, though.
Okay.
So you're absolutely right. All of the processing of everything, exactly the same. But because people are unsure of this plan and all the, that level of care, if they reach out to United Healthcare, their market managers or their agent managers, they won't be able to help them.
Right. That's kind of why we're.
Did you hear that, everybody?
Yes. So we have been getting phone calls. Yes, and agents hear about it, and to your point, then they call their broker manager or their director and go, "Hey, I want to be able to sell that product. How come?" It's not available to widespread distribution. It's just not. And
often it's not part of their goals
and
or
it's
not.
It's a unique kind of a different carve out or a product to your point. And there's a leadership team built within Optum to handle and support broker questions and educate and train, which is why you were so gracious to fly out here and do a training.
And why we did a special podcast.
Provide us with the team. And so, if you're sitting there in Georgia or you're in the Carolinas, wherever you are, and you go, hey, I want to sell this product, you can't talk to your local broker. They don't know anything about the product. And you can't go to the local Optum rep. The local Optum person probably does not know about this product either. It's a unique team.
And that's why, once again, they go onto the Agent Boost website. And on that website, once again, it has the Optum care team that were there. I've got myself. You met Cole. He was with me today.
Yep.
You've got Alec Duffy. You've got Angie Janes. We've got a whole host of people that can help people. We're here to answer those questions. We answer questions every day of the week. Yep. And we try to get back to everybody within at maximum 3 hours.
Yep.
A lot of people will reach out and they'll, once again, get that person. Alex Duffy has been tremendous in helping so many people here in the Utah, Washington, and Oregon markets. And you just call one of us and we're able to help.
And you've been amazing in a jetway, wherever, in an airport, responding back, talking to brokers even. So it's been incredible so far.
Yeah, your team's very, very impressive. Our agents are obviously understandably excited about this and the opportunity. And what's most exciting is they're excited to give that care and that special plan to their clients. It's not just, hey, I'm going to make extra money on it, because it's actually an extra step, but they're very excited to be able to have that tool, that plan that's specifically built. So we're very, very happy.
So here's a question agents ask all the time. I used to sell Evercare, or I sold this product. This sounds too good to be true. Usually when I was selling Medicare Advantage back in the day, people were saying, this is too good to be true. I'm like, you have paid for your health care and prepaid for it your entire working career. Those FICA deductions, this is not too good to be true. You've paid a lot for these benefits, right? But they hear that about the plan and they go, my worry is that this plan is going to go away because it's too rich or too good and they can't sustain this.
So my response to that is, this is a life cycle plan. We have plans that have, a Part B give back. We have plans that, lots of rebate plans. We have C-SNP plans. We have D-SNP plans. We have premium plans. We have all sorts of plans. And they're all made with our members in mind. This is, once again, a plan that's made with our membership in mind. This is, once again, in the life cycle of a healthcare plan. It fits where people have, once again, that level of care necessity. They need extra support, and that care navigator is helping to support them. But more importantly, it is also here to stay. It's been here for a while, but once again, has not been out here to anyone else. It's literally under 100 days that we've been out here. And we're going to be here to once again help people live better days.
Awesome.
Perfect. I love it. That will help a lot of the agents out there feel much more secure about the product.
Very well said. I think we're coming up to about our time here.
Before we wrap, do we have any last things that we want to put out there? Anything about the IE-SNP? We've talked about the product, the benefits, how you write it in the ecosystem. Are we missing anything before we do a sign off?
I think one thing that we haven't said, so once they do that well sky, they've done the level of care. We've told you it takes a few minutes or up to 30 minutes, depending on if it was a counseling session. How do the agents know that level of care has been met? Within 15 minutes? Heck, we had an agent today said, no, it's not, it's 3 minutes today. I always say 15 minutes. It takes 15 minutes for them to get an email back from WellSky to say, you're ready for enrollment. And there's nothing you need to do. You don't have to have a code or take a snapshot or do anything.
That's what I couldn't believe, is that there wasn't
there is not a
component to tie a Maria in the back, or like a e-code or something that you had to put in on the app. It was just known that it was done, and then they'll go find it and match it up.
They will find it. And so once again, I tell everyone, go into the Agent Boost website. You have our phone numbers on there. For your first enrollment, we want to be able to help and support you. I think that's super important. You're not alone in this. We'll help you get comfortable with this. And also use all the great resources on the Agent Boost website. I think that once again, driving people to the resources that you've got up there helps tremendously.
Yeah, thank you. And I would add that it's a partnership, it's a team, right? Where we have very educated staff members on the product too. So a lot of times we're going to say, hey, it's a team effort. You know, you can reach some of our staff members. We can walk the agent through it. You can call that Optum number. You guys have been so wonderful about, providing more training to us so we can therefore serve the agent, which has been wonderful too. So anyways, with that, I think, are we coming up on time?
Yeah, I think we're a little long, but we're good.
We're good. All right.
Jill, you've been so awesome, and I love your passion, and you are the right person for this product for sure.
And
I appreciate you having me here.
Yep. And we'll, of course, we're going to have you back on again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'll look forward to it.
Somebody else. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Agent Boost.